Are you moving to Virginia Beach, Virginia? Well, today we're talking about 12 must-know things before you move to Virginia Beach that will help you a ton when you get here, and we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone and I'm a real estate agent in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And if it's your first time, great, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. 2, and hit that like button if you like the video. You'll get notified every time I do a video, and I do them about Hampton Roads, real estate in Hampton Roads. Today we're talking about 12 things that you must know before moving here to help you get settled in and get acclimated to the area. I help all kinds of people move into this area from all over the world, and it's honestly awesome. And if there's any way I can help you, if you're planning to move here, please let me know. I got my contact information in the description, and you can call me, email me, message me, however you'd like that's easiest for you, and I'll do whatever I can to help you. Now, we're talking about the 12 things that I want you to know before moving to Virginia Beach. Now let's get into it. Number 12. If you move here, you've got lots of options for day trips. Virginia Beach, while technically it's in the corner of Virginia, the southeastern corner of Virginia, it has lots of access to other cities in and around the East Coast. For instance, you've got mountains, 4 hours away to the Blue Ridge Mountains. You've got beach, but you've got the Outer Banks as well, an hour and a half away to the Outer Banks of northeastern North Carolina. And then 3 hours away from Washington, D.C. My wife and I take day trips there quite a bit. And then on the south side, you're about 3 hours away from Raleigh, North Carolina. Not to mention Richmond, the capital city of Virginia, 2 hours away. A history buff, Charlottesville, about 2.5 hours away, and Colonial Williamsburg is only an hour drive north. And then if you want to go off the beaten path a little bit more, Cape Charles on the eastern shore is just under an hour away from Virginia Beach. You basically have, if you don't have everything you want in Virginia Beach, there's all kinds of options for day trips and for weekend quick getaways, and then get back to Virginia Beach within enough time to get back to work the next Monday. Now that leads me to number 11, which is a bummer for me, which is there are no 4 major sports teams in this area. There are, for instance though, AAA baseball, Baltimore Orioles, the Norfolk Tides is here, as well as a minor league hockey team, the Norfolk Admirals, that is in the ECHL Hockey League. And for the closest tailgating experience, you've got Old Dominion University football, which is on the western side of Norfolk. Other than that, if you're gonna be a fan of sports teams, you might find that either if you move here, you bring the team that you're obviously a fan of already, or you become fans of the cities around you. That leads me to number 10, which is sort of similar to number 11. There's no real culture outside of the beach. There's an outdoors water fishing culture that has been built over all around Virginia Beach, which makes a lot of sense. But once you get off the coast, it's kind of a muddled mess in terms of culture. There's a lot of military here, and that does help with the culture. But at the same time, the military brings lots of people from different areas, and in a sense, they bring their own piece of the culture that they came from. And so what that means is that there's lots of blending going on here. So it doesn't have that unique specific vibe that, for instance, the people on the beach enjoy in the community that they have. It's kind of a mixture of people that live in a large area, which then leads me to number 9, which is the traffic. The traffic's bad, but let's not get it twisted. It's not as bad as a lot of locals complain about. You're gonna hear lots of locals talk about how bad the traffic is. And I will say that it is bad in some places, and it can be real bad. I mean, the tunnels near Virginia Beach can be rough, and the interstates can be bad during rush hour. But in context, if you come from a major city in the country, for instance, like Washington, D.C., Chicago, Atlanta, San Francisco, any other large city in the top 20, 30 cities, you're gonna laugh at the fact that people complain about the traffic here. Because while traffic can be bad, you might have to stay in traffic an extra 10, 15 minutes sometimes, and so your trip might be 25 minutes instead of 15. It's not as bad as some might complain about to me across the board. And I'm realizing that because I'm talking to you guys from different areas, and when you experience the traffic that I say is bad, some people don't think it's as bad as I say. Hey, I'm willing to be wrong. The worst part about it is just expecting to get somewhere in 15 minutes and it takes you 25 or 30. That's frustrating. It's just not really bad, if you know what I'm saying. All that leads to my next one, number 8, which is that Wallet Hub ranked us as the number 3 hardest working city in all of the country. Now, I don't know if that's exactly true. There's lots of metrics involved in that I'll drop the link below to show you the reasons why they said this. But they mentioned things like how long people work, how much people work, how many times people don't use their time off. Lots of people that come here for military, there's lots of jobs, lots of businesses that have set up shop here, essentially implying that when people come here, they work. And I think part of that too is the fact that there is kind of a lack of things to do in the evenings outside of, for instance, town center, downtown, and the beach. So unless you want to drive to other cities, you're gonna find that you might be staying home more frequently or being with family. Or if you don't have a family, you might end up taking a couple extra hours at the office because you have the opportunity to. So that could be part of why Virginia Beach is seen as a working city. Well, that leads me to number 7, which is the jet noise. So this area is also known for its F-18 jets taking off from the Oceana Naval Air Station and flying around, and you'll hear them quite a bit. And especially if you're near Oceana or a mile or two radius from Oceana, you're gonna hear them frequently. And I say frequently, it can be several times a day for 20, 30, 40 seconds at a time. And while that's not a lot to some people, it can be a lot to some other people. The jet noise is real, but it's localized. So I'm gonna drop a link below to show you it's called the ACU's noise zone map, and it's a map of Virginia Beach that shows you where the more intense jet noise can be and where it is in relation to the Oceana Naval Air Station. The idea here is that the jet noise is contextual. However, at the same time, it's not everywhere in the city. So if you look at the map, you'll see that Oceana, just around Oceana, is the largest area that has the most concentration of noise. But once you get away from Oceana, the further you go, basically the less frequent you'll hear the jet noise, and eventually you won't hear it at all. So plenty of people in Virginia Beach never hear jet noise, but some people are used to it. So my suggestion is, when you come here and you do want to move to an area in Virginia Beach that has close proximity to Oceana, is talk to some neighbors and see what the regular sound is like. I mean, how frequently are jets flying over? How often do you hear it? How loud is it? And ask a few people to get some idea, because sometimes locals don't even realize it anymore. They're just used to it and call it the sound of freedom. Ask a few people and get a good assessment before you make a decision about moving to that area. And also talk to your real estate agent to get a good idea as well. Now we got number 6. Virginia Beach is real big. People might think that Virginia Beach is a beach town. Well, there is a beach community and it's vibrant, but if you go outside of that area, it's a huge city. It's almost 500,000 people, actually about just over 450,000 people as of 2018, which is the largest city in the state of Virginia, by almost double. The second largest one's next door, which is Norfolk. So Virginia Beach is known for having lots of land, lots of beach, but also lots of people. But in context, it's not like a million plus, 2 million, 3 million person city like some of the top 10 or 15 cities in the country. It's not that big, which is one of the reasons why we don't have a professional sports team. Now that leads me to number 5, which is suburbia. Once you get off the beach area, there's lots of neighborhoods, lots of them. If you look at the map, there's plenty of roads that stretch down and around and up and down. There are plenty of neighborhoods that have been created off of these separate highways, and so that's because of the growth. This area has doubled and tripled over the past few decades, and so since then that means lots of houses had to be built. 80s, 90s, 2000s, new construction now. There's plenty of land to be developed and has been developed over the course of the last 30, 40 years. And that's for multiple reasons, one of which is for the jobs in Virginia Beach and also for other cities as well. And school districts, lots of demand here to live in Virginia Beach, so therefore people just kept building and building and building. But I will say that for any neighborhood that you live in, you'll have access to most of your essentials from anywhere from a 5 to 10 to 15 minute drive from your house. So any neighborhood, especially now that's being developed even further out into the country, places around there are starting to develop. Like there are more stores that are being built into the country to facilitate those areas. So just because you're not in the middle of Virginia Beach does not mean you're going to be in the country or have a lack of places to go. But now number 4 involves schools. Don't just look at the school reviews and just trust them blindly. There's more to it than that. The reason I say that is not necessarily to downplay the ones that are ranked real high. There are lots of amazing schools in Virginia Beach, some that are some of the best in the entire state and known to be the best in the entire state. People move here specifically for these school districts. Places like Ocean Lakes, Salem, Princess Anne, there's so many great schools in Virginia Beach. However, because those are ranked so high online, it makes the others look like they're the worst, but that's actually not the case. So my suggestion, strong suggestion is, when you're researching schools here, make sure you read the reviews as well as the ranks themselves and figure out why people are rating the schools a certain way. For instance, there might be some schools that might be rated lower because the building is just not in good shape, which I'm not saying it doesn't matter. My point is that doesn't change the fact that teachers might be awesome there, the culture might be awesome at that school, the desire to learn might be great at that school, but it's just the building might not be great or something like that. You understand what I'm saying. The point is read lots of reviews, get a good understanding as to why people rate the school high and low to get a good idea, because there are some great schools in some really affordable price ranges that might be ranked a little bit lower than the very, very best that can give you everything that you're looking for. Now all the things I've mentioned to you to this point leads me to this one. Number 3, own thyself a car. You gotta own a car. This area is so big, the land size is almost 500 square miles, and a lot of that is covered in roads. We've got 2 major interstates, 264 and 64, that go east and west and north and south, but then there's a ton of roads that lead all over the place in the rest of the area. And so while you can take public transportation, you can walk sometimes, but this area is not designed for people to walk long distances. It's great for hiking, for adventures. There's plenty of wildlife here, and do take your strolls then. But to buy a house here and expect to commute back and forth to work, to school, to go to the store, all that kind of stuff, and walk or take public transportation, it's doable sometimes, but don't count on it, and it can take you a long time. So if you come here and can at all costs, please own a car. Now number 2 is real interesting. This is a city, not a county. Virginia Beach is a city, not a county, but in addition to that, it is an independent city, not just a city. What's the difference? Well, most cities are inside of counties themselves, so most of the country is like that. However, there are 41 independent cities in the entire country. Now, an independent city is a city that is outside of its county itself. There is no county. It answers directly to the state. There are 41 of these in the entire country, and 38 of them are in Virginia. One of them is Virginia Beach. Now this all dates back to when the state wrote its constitution back in the late 1800s. But know that when you move here, you're gonna probably expect to be in a county, maybe even a city that's involved with a county, but this is neither of those things. This is an independent, or some people call it a free city. And that brings me to number 1, which is the oceanfront is not the only beach that's here in Virginia Beach. There are several other beaches that are actually pretty awesome. One is Sandbridge. If you don't like the oceanfront, or it's too crowded, too busy, too touristy, people like the locals like to come down and spend an extra half an hour, drive around to Sandbridge, and that's on the southeastern side of Virginia Beach. This kind of has the feel of like a beach house area, like the Outer Banks, for instance. Then in addition to that, you've got Chicks Beach on the north side of Virginia Beach, which has its own community also. It's got its own culture. That's on the very north and west side of Virginia Beach, and you'll be facing the bay, not the Atlantic Ocean itself. And you're also close to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, which you can see very easily from Chicks Beach. Then you've got First Landing Beach, which is still on the north side, east of Chicks Beach, which is a much smaller beach, but still one that's quiet, and if you want something as an alternative, this is another option. Then in addition to that, lots of people love the North End. It's quieter up here, which is the reason why people like it. This is the northeastern corner of Virginia Beach, and it's on the east side, so it faces the Atlantic Ocean. There are lots of private beach accesses all up and down the north end, which if you look at a map, the 40th Street area down there is the start of North End, and you go all the way up, all the way to the top of the coast. Those roads that go east and west, they have private beach accesses. So if you do go up here, please consider the neighbors and consider the residents that live here. Park appropriately and park respectfully. If I liked beaches, I would like these better than the oceanfront. I'm not a beach guy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.